Hi everyone. I decided that since I was not going to have ample time to write out my next post, and I know so many of you have been waiting for my next post in protecting our children against sexual predators. And, well, let me tell you, life has gotten in the way and it has been super duper duper busy. And so I figured, hey, why don't I make a video? Why not? So here I am. And if there ends up being some stopping, just to warn you, there might be. That's just because I only get a certain amount of time to record. And so I'm going to have to have some stops in between. So please bear with me. Also, no, I do not have a fake tan. I did not get a spray-on tan or anything. This is purely lighting. My orange coloring, yeah, it's the lighting. I am utilizing the lights that my husband built in for my my vanity and makeup stuff, and hence you can see, my bed in the background, messy, unmade bed. But so yeah, I do not have a spray tan. I do not have a fake tan. That's no. I would look anyway. Sorry, that was quite off the trail. Okay, so today we are going to discuss 3 main reasons that your children need to know the anatomical names to their genitals and to their private parts. And I know that that sounds like such an uncomfortable thing to talk about. I mean, it sounds uncomfortable, but it's really not, and it doesn't have to be. And unfortunately, I think in a lot of Christian circles, we've been been made to have that feeling of discomfort because honestly, the topic of sex, the topic of, body parts and all that stuff is kind of taboo. And so we don't talk about that. And, but not here. We are going to talk about it, and I'm going to explain to you why it needs to be talked about and why your children need to know names of their body parts like penis and vagina and even vulva and testicles. There is a reason for it, and I know it's embarrassing, but please hang on with me and I will tell you why, and you will understand a whole lot more at the end of this video, I promise. So we're going to move on to our first point, and I consider this actually the biggest point. When you teach your children the terms of their body parts, like penis and vagina, and I'll admit that it is hard. It's weird. It's awkward to start talking about it, but it does get easier, and I promise. But when you start telling them the names, when they're taking a bath and they need to wash their penis, you say, here's some soap, wash your penis. And it's like, my kids know, that's what they're supposed to wash. They know that's the name. It's not, your tidbits or your snooky or whatever you want to call it. It's that they know that that's not what that is. And the biggest reason for calling what it is to your children is that it is actually the biggest deterrent to pedophiles and sexual predators. When they realize a child knows the anatomical name of that body part, they realize that that child has been educated, and most likely that child has also been told about sexual predators and how to handle themselves in certain situations and how secrets are not okay. There was actually a study done in 1995 that showed that pedophiles, sexual predators, were less likely to go after children who knew the proper names for their private parts. And they actually, if they started to realize a child did, they would stop and go the other way, because that was a big deterrent. They would not be able to handle having a child who knew the right names for their private parts. And you can see how much that can empower you as a parent and empower your child against sexual predators. It brings them a lot of safety. Knowing that it's a penis, a vagina, it brings them safety. Hey, I'm back again. I had taken a short break to deal with some of my kids' needs. And then I remembered, hey, I've got a whiteboard. And how awesome would that be to institute that in all of my my points that I am making. Okay, so before we move on to point 2 and reason number 2, I would like to call this my 3 reasons for teaching your children the anatomical names for their body parts. I would like to call it SLAW, the law of SLAW, I guess you could say. So we've got SLA. All right, and the first reason I told you was safety. And reason number 2, which I'm going to talk about right now, is legality. And you're probably thinking, how in the world is teaching my child the proper names for their private parts, how does that play into law or the legal system? A lot more than you think. Unfortunately, not knowing the proper names for their body parts can actually be turned against your children in a court of law. And if they only know to call it their private or their PP or whatever, this makes me angry. This makes me angry that this is even a topic, but it is, and you need to know. Unfortunately, defense can use that against your child by basically saying, well, the child was unclear. How do we know that the child was talking about their penis or their vagina, that their, that down there was touched? How do we know? All they said was their wee-wee. We don't know what their wee-wee is, but if your child is able to know the terms and say, no, he touched my penis, or she touched my penis, he touched my vagina, then it's very clear where the perpetrator touched. And that cannot be used against your family, your child, because you are clear. Your child was able to be clear about where he or she was touched and whatever happened to them. But if your child is unable to call it by the proper name, then the defense can use that against them and say that, well, since it's unclear, we cannot, say that that's exactly what it was. Even though common sense and everybody knows what the child is talking about, because of law and legality, the defense of the perpetrator can use that improper term against your child. So the second reason that your child needs to know the proper names for their penis and vagina is for legality reasons, so that it does not end up coming against them in a court of law. If your child was ever hurt or molested or sexually abused, and that's saying if, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but you have that now. You have that power now. You have that power in court. And your child has that power in court and has a much stronger chance of getting that person behind bars if they are able to be clear about what part of their body was touched or abused in any way. So we have safety and we have legality. And I'm going to move on to my third point. And my third point is awareness. Awareness. And I apologize if you can't read my messy writing. awareness. And you're thinking, of course, I'm aware, or I'd be aware, or I'm alert. And yes, but these people are tricky people. And so how does that play into your child knowing the proper names? Well, predators oftentimes will refer to your child's penis or vagina with a cutesy name. For example, one woman testified and said that he referred it to as her cookie. And other things are like cupcake and hot dog and things like that. And but if you are teaching your child the proper names for their body parts, and then you notice they start calling it some really strange names, then that will send a red flag. That will immediately send a red flag up in your head. I'm sorry if you hear that scratching noise. That's my daughter playing on the floor. So all of a sudden, that's a red flag. It's like, whoa, we've never called it a cupcake before. It's definitely been a vagina all this time. And then you can start asking. You can start asking questions, asking where your daughter got that name for her private part. And if your own child starts referring to his or her penis or vagina by any other name, and especially if it's like a cutesy, weird name, then that is a huge red flag, and you need to be aware of that. That is not okay. And so we're going to recap. So I just gave you the 3 points for the three main reasons your children need to know the anatomical names of their private parts. And the 3 reasons, hold on. Okay, now that I have gone over the 3 reasons your children need to know the anatomical names to their private parts, I'm going to recap them. Remember, it is SLA, S-L-A, and we have safety, legality, and awareness. Remember, number 1, safety. A predator is less likely to go after your child if they somehow realize your child knows the proper names of their body parts. And even if they were to go after your child, they would realize it pretty quickly, because you will also empower your child to say no. Like, no, do not touch my penis. And the predator will be like, whoa. So safety. Then we have legality. And that is, it gives your child more power in court to know the proper name of their body parts. And that way it cannot be, if they had a cutesy name, that would be used against them. But if they have the proper names, it can't be used against their story. And then awareness. And that is, it brings to light to you as a parent if your child might possibly have been sexually abused. If they start using cutesy names instead of the proper terms that you have taught them, then you want to look into it, because that is a red flag. Now, as a parent, I understand how difficult it is to refer to your child's private parts as penis and vagina, and especially if you grew up in a Christian home like I did. That's just kind of awkward. It's like, we never called it that. I don't know. I don't remember ever calling it that. I mean, even though as I got older, I knew that was the name, but it just, when I first started teaching my children their proper names, it felt kind of awkward. And, but I promise, over time, it feels less awkward and it feels more, normal. And if you think about it, if we're teaching our children the proper names of the rest of their body, like arm, hand, fingers, face, cheeks, nose, eyes, why are our body parts different? Why not call it breast? Why not call it vagina, penis? That's what they are. And we need to not mask what it is, because that just brings more possible danger in the future. And if you can empower your child with the proper names of their private parts, if you can empower them with that, then that provides a lot more strength for you and your family in the future. And you basically put up a stronghold for your child that allows them a barrier between them and possible predators. And I am being summoned, so that is all. And I hope to see you guys again, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you were able to learn a lot. And do not forget the SLAW method, SLA, safety, legality, awareness. Thank you everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the video.